just saw like Keir Starmer has said that he's going to use anything within his power to stop the boats. And what I'm telling you is the only reason he's doing that is because of the challenge that Reform are doing up in the north, and he's at the 11th hour, he's about to lose everything. He knows that. It's a massive failure of a man's integrity. I'm going to start off with playing you a film about integrity. I'm fascinated about the role that masculinity plays within ordered societies. Let's start off with this film, and then I'll come back and we'll have a chat.
I didn't pull out in front of you back there, did I?
No. But about a year ago, you stepped out on the road at me, didn't you?
That is you.
That's me. I appreciate that, because every time I drove by, I've been pissed off. So.
I know, I apologize.
Thank you.
Bad day for me, and I apologize.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And so what you saw there was like how to do it, because they could have escalated that into violence. And the thing that is accessible to men that isn't accessible to women is violence. How do women deal with confrontation? Well, as Jordan Peterson says, then they do it through innuendo, reputation, destruction, and they do it through gossip. We all know that. If you live with a wife or a girlfriend, you know those things are accessible to women. That's what they do. That's what they talk about all the time. Now, men, we don't talk about that. Like, we go golfing with a buddy and my wife would say, oh, he just got divorced. How's he doing? I'll be like, no idea. Didn't talk about it. We just talked about football or whatever we talked about, rugby or cars or something, you know what I mean? Because men aren't into that kind of stuff, but girls are, and they're fascinated about the fact that we're not. Now, two men, obviously having an altercation, they know it could escalate into violence, and the weaker man will allow that. They'll push that into getting a response. Now, why do men do this as well? We're going to talk about integrity a little bit, guys. The reason some men do this, okay, and to be fair, I probably did this back in my university days, is because you want to feel something. This gets a bit deep here and a bit dark, and I don't want you to think that, okay, let me just go. It's quite interesting. So in my university days, of course, you're quite lonely, quite alone, that kind of stuff. So what I used to do is walk around the streets of Bristol, quite dodgy areas, and get into fights a lot. This is a long time ago. I'm 50 now. This is in my 20s. I was doing martial arts. I used to get into fights. I wouldn't look for them as such, but I wouldn't not look for them. And sometimes I get beaten up really badly. You know, it wasn't like people really wanted to fight. If you think about it, I mean, I've lost teeth here and stuff, you know what I mean? But you felt something. Does that make sense? So someone was paying you attention. It gets so dark, horrible. Because if you look at the Pakistani Muslim rape gangs and why the girls went back there, you know, the young white girls that were being raped by these, well, I hate to use the term men, but you have to, unfortunately, with these guys. The girls went back there apparently because they came from such broken homes. A lot of these girls were in like care homes and stuff, that the men were showing them some kind of affection, even if they were being plied with drugs and alcohol and rape. I mean, it's horrific to me when I heard that. But the reason they went there is because they felt something. Someone was paying them attention, even if it was massive abuse. And that's the fact. So that's the thing. A lot of the time, a lot of men get into altercations because they just want to feel something, because their life is so mundane and nothing's going on, you know what I mean? So we're going to talk about integrity, right? So here's the thing. I'm fascinated about this, right? I'll tell you a few stories in this as well. I'm interested in what you think in the comments, because the only way we're going to get through this whole thing is by acknowledging the fact that we've got to make a massive amount of sacrifice. It's not the women that are going to make the sacrifices, guys. It's going to be the men. Women make a lot of sacrifices already, but a lot of men are being very weak, very shallow, very lazy, very sort of feminist, as it were. The reason this whole world is in trouble is because men didn't say no. Now, what does that mean? So the senior military, you know, we've seen them with rainbow flags, all that kind of stuff. I just saw the Chief of General Staff in the newspaper the other day saying, we've got to prepare for a war with Russia. I didn't see a single bloody rainbow flag in that. When he's saying that, that seems to be forgotten now. Now he's flown the flag and now he's got all the diverse communities and the women into the military. He doesn't want to go back there again, does he? He doesn't want to do that anymore. You know what I mean? Because now he needs real people to go to war. And these are real British men. When I say British men, the men I grew up with, black, white, doesn't matter. He wants British men to go to war. He doesn't want women anymore, does he? You know what I mean? He doesn't want that. But it was quite good when he was trying to get people into the military and it was being pushed. Massive failure in integrity. Massive, massive. I see the same thing. I say the same thing for many, many people in the very senior elements of government and the civil service, by the way. So what does it mean to have integrity? It means doing what those two guys did. They jump out the truck and they go, You know, we know we're stepping into a confrontation. What's the best thing is like, dude, I was a dick. I'm sorry. Yeah, no worries, man. I was a dick as well. Cool. Shake on it. Done. Because you might need that man in the future. And that's something men don't realize now. When I get attacked, why am I being attacked online? Why am I being attacked in emails, whatever it might be? I'm being attacked by weak men. Now, why is that? This is why you might be being attacked as well. Or your wife is saying something to you to put you down, to say something. You know what? It only takes the wife to say something little, doesn't it? And we just drop, like everything just drops. It doesn't take much. It's because you're displaying something that they haven't yet achieved. And it might be a work ethic. You might be carrying weight, but you might be going to the gym. We always know how that works, don't we? I'm going to start a gym program. Don't tell people you're doing this, by the way. There's a reason you shouldn't tell people you're doing this. And it's not just the one you think of. There's also like a thing that happens with the brain. If you start talking about the plans for the business you're building, whatever, your brain thinks you're already doing it. And therefore it gives you less motivation to go and do it in the first place. So try and keep those projects a little bit, you know, going to the gym, try and keep that a little bit to yourself, as it were. But whenever you're working out, whenever you're doing anything, people will try and bring you back. It's the crab bucket, isn't it? The tall poppy syndrome. The poppy that grows tallest to try and chop down. Why do we do that? Why do people do that? Well, because if they chop you down, they haven't got to do it themselves. Because what you're doing is you're highlighting their inefficiency, their inabilities, their laziness. Does that make sense? And this is the problem we've got with society. It's lazy and it's going to fold. And why is it going to fold? Because there's men not doing what they should be doing. And what should men be doing? They should be sacrificing. They should be going out and doing the hard work. And that's the problem. We need to be doing that hard work. I slack off sometimes and I have to catch myself. Here's the thing that's true, right? I know this for a fact because it's happened many, many times. When my life is going easy, hard times around the corner. I say to my wife, something bad's going to happen. And whether you believe that's God going to, you know, holding you to account, well, you can believe whatever you want. It doesn't matter. I believe the world is holding me account. When my life is going easy, money's coming in the bank, all that kind of good stuff, something bad's going to happen. And I prepare myself. What do? I go and hit the gym harder than I have before. Because there's a correlation being able to deal with, you know, things coming and hitting you and how much you've kind of lifted and worked out and just being there, just suffering a little bit. You know what I mean? There's a correlation. Don't want to keep it too long, guys. So that's what I'm talking about. So I know when my life is going quite easy and the money's coming in and the relationship's good. Oh man, I know it's going to happen. Something bad's going to happen. And the reason bad things happen, and this is, I get a lot of victims writing to me, and I don't mean they're not real victims. If a victim writes to me, I'll address that. But a lot of people that are wrapped up in victimhood. Oh, woe is me. Yeah. Oh, poor old me. But no time for that, mate. No time at all. And I'll tell you how to deal with that a little bit in a minute, because I'm sure you get that in your life as well. A lot of victims write to me and I'm like, you're not putting the work in, mate. If you were putting the work in, right, if you were putting the effort in, you wouldn't be saying what you're saying, because life is supposed to be hard. When was life supposed to be easy? I didn't get that email. You know what I mean? Oh, Tim, have an easy life. No, I never got that one. No, life is supposed to be difficult. You can't grow without, it's the smooth road versus the rocky road, mate, isn't it? You know what I mean? Which one are you going to learn more from? Climbing over the boulders, walking the rocky path. Everyone wants to take the easy path, don't they? And then this is the problem with the trust fund kids. This is why they try and start a business, but it's still they can't get any, the love they need is the love from themselves, but they can never get it. Because they haven't done anything worthwhile, because they've got all the money, they've got all the privilege and opportunity, and they can't. It's a hard thing. A lot of people I do the coaching with are very, very wealthy and very, very sad. And you think, well, I'll be great. I'd love to be wealthy. Yeah, but you've done the hard work, mate. You know what I mean? It's different for It's different for you. You've done the hard work. They haven't done the hard work. That's the problem they've got. It's a value exchange. They've never delivered any value to get the value from. Whereas you have, of course, you've dug out. You've worked hard in the job you're in. Therefore, you're getting paid for it. Therefore, you get the value. People can see the effort you're putting in. With a trust fund kid or something, or someone uber wealthy, you know, son of someone very wealthy, they haven't put the effort in, but they still got the money. They don't feel great about themselves. They come to me and I have to try and work stuff through with them, you know? That's the problem. So the integrity thing, I'll tell you a story right now. There's a guy in the squadron called Matt. Really nice guy, a weapons officer when I was on 12. Really good dude. And he'd done some time in the Air Force. He was known as a great operator in the back seat of the Tornado, you know what I mean? Flying down the valley. He's really good, like a leader. This guy's a leader. He decided to leave the Air Force. And then we heard he was working for either double glazing, something like that, you know what I mean? Like they built conservatories. Lovely bloke. He's up north, actually. Very strong northern accent. He had a great family. And the Air Force moves you around quite a lot. And I think he wanted to settle. So he left the Air Force. I remember guys in the squadron kind of ridiculing him a little bit. Going, oh yeah, he was a Tornado mate. You know, he was a pilot. Sorry, he's a navigator in the Air Force. And now he's running this double glazing firm. I was like, yeah, right on, mate. What do you think you're going to do? You think you're going to leave the Air Force and run a bloody hedge fund? No, mate. It's not like that. He was literally grafting for his family. That's what the man was doing. He was digging deep to bring money into it. That's what a real man does. I saw this thing about a footballer as well. This footballer got sacked, I think, from a team. And people on the internet were taking a piss out of him because he was delivering for like Tesco's or something, or Sainsbury's, you know what I mean? I remember thinking, they're taking a piss out of him. It's like, he's got to make some money. The man's got to make some money. That's what he's doing. He's making some money. That's the thing about Starmer. That's the thing about not holding your word. That's the thing about just blatantly lying is we can tell as men. I have people, I'm not saying I haven't got many friends. I don't like people that much, to be fair. And, you know, fair enough. You might like people. Cool. I don't like people. It's you know, I'm a solo cat. I'm a very individual man. I just am. It's not a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It just is. I've got some men that I deal with. I wouldn't leave them with my wife. You know what I mean? Some men, acquaintances, do some stuff with. You can tell a man straight away. Like, you can tell. You know, I'll be walking down the street sometimes. I'll go to these bike meets now. I was at one at the weekend. Dudes come up to you. I can tell they're solid dudes because they don't want a conversation. They just come up and they just tap me on the shoulder. They're like, I appreciate what you're doing. Or thank you for saying what you're saying. That it's not, we don't need to have that conversation, and they don't want to have that conversation. It's not even about that. It's the acknowledgement that there's something that's being done that's hard and we need to do it. It's going to get difficult, guys. When I talk about the amount of immigration that's come into the country, people keep referencing this 4 million Muslims. They reference this 6.5%, but that was from 2021. They reckon that the country is going to be 20% Muslim in 2050. That's not far away. That's as far now in the future as the 2000s were. Now we're 2025. 20%. We've never had this kind of immigration. And with those Muslims, whether you are, you know, a massive Muslim fan or not, irrespective of that, don't worry about it. I don't believe Islam has any place in the West whatsoever. But I'm not against all Muslims. I'm against the Islamists, the ones that use Islam for political ideology, try and seize power from it, which is what they're going to do, of course. Those are the people that are going to be trying to run the country, trying to control the country. And they will, of course, because Muslims vote for Muslims generally and this kind of stuff. And we're going to be pretty powerless because that's the only bunch of people that carry on breeding. Everyone else that comes over, Somalians and Nigerians and Albanians or whatever, their birth rates go back down to our birth rates, to the host country. Muslims, it doesn't. It goes up. You've got to prepare. The gym is the thing. You've got to know other men. You've got to make sure you're a man that wants to be, that other men want to be with. Because a lot of men we don't want to be with. We can tell. And how can we tell? Well, because it looks like you're looking after yourself. It looks like you're putting the work in. You're not that guy that's whinging. You're not writing to me as a victim. Oh, woe is me. I'm not interested. Where's the value exchange? What are you offering me to offer my time back to you? Do you think about it? Yeah, it's important. Like, what are we doing? How are we delivering value to our families? Are you that stand-up guy that's grafting, going to work every day, even though you don't want to do it? No one wants to do it, right? Are you that stand-up guy that's going to work every day, putting that? I know you are. You wouldn't be watching this channel otherwise, mate. You know what I mean? That's you. Then we're doing fine. But it's going to get worse, a lot worse before it gets better. And the only thing that's going to keep us safe is just being that guy that has that integrity. It's about doing the right thing when no one's watching. I went to Tesco's today. I got like 2 bags. And I marked down 2 bags, got 2 bags. Didn't have to do that. I just think, what, 10p each? Didn't have to do that. But I said I've got 2 bags. Because I know when I'm lying about myself. It doesn't matter what you think of me. It doesn't matter what anyone thinks of me. It matters what I think of me. Because that's going to resonate out to other men. Does that make sense? It's about integrity, guys. That's all we've got. Hit the comments. Let me know what you think. And how you think this thing's going to go in the future, right? Because when civil wars happen, and it will happen, we know it's going to happen, what happens is communities come together, and those communities have to be able to trust each other. And you have to be someone in that community that is trusted. I could tell you so many stories about this, but it's 12 minutes already, 13 minutes. I'll save it till later. I appreciate it, guys. Take care.